One of the biggest surprises that I had with the Insta360 X3 is the fact that this is so much more than a 360-degree camera. I know at the beginning of it, or at the first look of it, that's pretty much what you think, Insta360, that's the name. But the tools, the abilities of being able to generate instant content from this camera on your phone, on the go, without ever even having to touch a PC is so powerful, and there's so many things built into this. But not only that, if you want to be able to take it back to your PC, you're able to configure it and use their own software, or even connect it to Premiere Pro directly from Adobe. So a lot of functional things built into a very small package, and this is why I feel like this camera is so much more than what meets the eye. This is TK, and this is my review of the Insta360 X3. Like and subscribe, and make sure you hit that bell icon so you're always notified to whenever we have new videos on the channel. I'll start off by saying that the team over at Insta360 hooked me up a big way with the setup that I have right now. We have obviously the camera. This is the X3, the Pocket 360 Action Cam, and be focused on the fact that this is way more than just the 360 camera. We have not only the selfie, or the invisible selfie stick, which is the standard short form version of it. We also have the extended version, which helps us run this in more of a drone mode, and I'll show you guys some examples of that as well. They also include the bullet time cord, which enables us to do some of the really good bullet time effects on this, and of course I'll show you guys some of those examples. And of course they also included a memory card. Now it's not in the package here because it's actually sitting inside of my camera, and we'll get a chance to talk about that. But essentially it's a 64 gig card made by Insta360 for their cameras. Now the last thing they also included in here for me is basically called a motorcycle mount bundle, which include a whole bunch of different options to be able to not only mount it on a motorcycle or a bike, like I'm going to be showing you guys with my experience, but it also comes with extension cords and pretty good experience to even be able to mount the extended edition selfie stick on it and use it on a bike. Now in the box itself, we do get the camera itself. Again, you do need to provide your own memory card unless you picked it up at the time you're purchasing it. You also get a carrying case. This is a nice case that helps protect the camera and the lenses for when you're not using it. So very nice, very simple to use. And of course, it still gives you access to the side option in here in case you want to be able to charge it while it's inside of the case. They also include a USB-A to USB-C cable provided in the box to be able to charge it. And as I mentioned to you, if you want to be able to charge it, you're able to open up the port and of course access the USB-C connecting cable directly with the case, so that you don't have to actually take it out of the case while you have it on the table. Now, as I mentioned to you guys, there's two options for the selfie sticks. There's the extended edition selfie stick, and then there's the invisible selfie stick, which the software actually does a massively good job of making this become invisible. The extended one, depending on how long you go, you actually are able to get some of that benefit, but overall the functionality is pretty straightforward. You get there's the Insta360 name, there's a quarter screw mount on the bottom, and of course it has the connection cable. Let's go ahead and put it in there, connection screw at the top. And the same thing kind of goes for the selfie stick, or the invisible one, pretty much at the bottom, and they extend to different options as I'm showing you guys right now. The biggest thing is that if you do really want to be able to try this, you could technically connect both of them and have them extend even more, as I'm using that, or I did use that with one of those shots that I'm going to share you guys, to be able to almost simulate as if we had a drone flying above us and filming us using the Insta360 X3. And the last thing I forgot, the box itself does include the quick start guide, information, a cleaning cloth, and some stickers on top of the carrying case, and that just comes essentially in the box with the Insta360 X3. Now, one of the main things that they mention here is now we have a 5.7 360-degree capture. This is a 5.7K, so not 4K, even higher, because we're using a spherical camera. A single lens mode to be able to use one lens at a time to be able to shoot 4K, 720p or 72 megapixel 360 video, photo, as well as active HDR video. Of course, invisible selfie stick, we talked about that one, of course, and the flow state stabilization. That's just so crazy, and I'll share you guys right quick how that looks. 360 horizon lock, which enables us to actually lock on the horizon. So even if I'm moving the selfie or the camera itself around, it always makes sure that stick to the actual view that you're shooting for. And up to 10-meter waterproofing, up to 33 feet in, without using a case for it. So this is essentially just with the camera itself that comes in the box. Last but not least, we have voice control and AI-powered editing, and this is some of the crazy magic stuff that Insta360 does with their app on mobile and even on their PC, or with the PC app. And of course, there's a whole bunch of different options in here that you can see for different usage. This is an action cam at its core, which essentially means we definitely need to be able to use this outdoors. Now, the last thing we're going to talk about before we get too much into the mounting option is that little 360 camera, or basically the bullet time option. It comes with an extension cord itself, and it has a nice little mount in here so that when you're actually trying to screw it in, it doesn't keep spinning the top. So definitely well thought out. And once it's in, you have it connected all the way, and then you pretty much just basically extend it and of course do that spinning bullet time effect effect. I'll show you guys a quick sample of that right now. I did that when I did the unboxing for my iQOO 11, and I did that right here in my backyard, and it edited the entire thing on the app, exported it, was able to post it straight to Instagram without even needing a phone. And that's really one of the benefits here. This is truly made for social sharing, but it's also great to be able to create content like what we watch here, a 16:9 aspect ratio, once you get into the editing tools. As far as the motorcycle mount bundle, this one comes with pretty much everything you need. There are extension options here, sticky pad options to also be able to mount this to your helmet in case you want to be able to use that. There's some extensions as well, and all the different screws, different options, very similar to what we've seen from other companies. And of course, this is the Magic mount itself. It comes with a nice grip on the left side here. You can expand it in this way. And this also comes with a very nice hard plastic, or basically you almost feel like it's metal on the inside as well, where you're able to basically tighten it and gives you the configuration that you need. This is great for mounting it on your handlebar, or if you're using it on a bike, depending on how thick the bike, the bar itself in the back, you're able to mount it on the back of the bike, as we did with some of the shots that I did with my friend. Last but not least, again, they do provide extensions in case you do need to use those. And then of course that be used with all of the options that you have in here. Perfect for mounting this on motorcycles. For me, I mounted it on a bicycle, and of course it'll work on a scooter. If you have something, maybe be able to mount it inside of your car, this will also work perfectly fine. The option itself works very nicely, and it is very, very sturdy. Now, the last thing I do also want to share is they did provide me with a cover. This is a cover for the lens itself. It's very nice, very rubberized. It makes it a little bit easier to carry whenever you're using it outdoors without using the full sleeve, because you still have the ability of using the displays. So talking about the actual configuration, we have an LED, microphone, another one there. We have obviously the Insta360 name here. This actually turns on whenever we're turning it on, and it'll light up in blue. There's another one matching it at the bottom. It'll flicker red whenever it's recording. There is a little bit of a chirp, and that's one of the speakers in there. We have a power button here, turn on and turn off. We have the ability of selecting the different lenses, 360 or single camera. This is one of the other microphones. A larger display, obviously, a brand new upgraded larger display on this unit itself, which also gives us the ability of using very nice configurations, the ability of jumping between video, single lens 360, photo, HDR photo, again, both of them, intervals. Of course, we have burst shot, last but not least is star lapse as well. Loop recording, it's a continuous loop recording, kind of like a dash cam if you want to be able to use it like that. And it does that at about 30-minute intervals. Bullet time, which is what we use to be able to create that nice little feature that I'll show you guys in a second. I'll go ahead and close that back again. You have time shift as well as time lapse. And one of the really nice things is in time lapse mode, you're able to actually shoot at 8K 30 frames per second recording for a beautiful time lapse. And of course, you can edit that in the tool afterwards. You can swipe this down, go back in here, and then of course we have HDR active, and last but not least, go back to video. Single 360 or single lens, depending on how you want to use it. Once we select it, we're back. And the different options that we have is 5.7K, 4K, and 3K. The best resolution is always going to be at 5.7K resolution at 30 frames per second. We are able to go higher in resolution when we go into bullet time, and I'll go ahead and jump into here. So let's go ahead and jump into that bullet time option that we have in here. And then when we select this one, we'll notice it's at 4K 120 frames per second. So that gives us the ability of focusing on. So you guys can actually see me. I'm looking at you, even though the camera is kind of seeing me at this angle. And that's really one of the main benefits. You see, this is the top camera and this is the bottom camera. And you're actually looking at both the top and bottom in here. This is really nice, and the beauty thing about this is that once you shoot this video, as you're looking at it right now, all you have to do is string it directly in with the bullet time option that they provided us there, and spin it above you for approximately 10 to 20 seconds. Once you're done, it automatically stitches that video and gets it to you in that format, posted directly to your device, and you can save it directly to your phone. Now, bring it down the option from the top. We'll notice we have different options in here as well. And in here, we're able to configure the microphone options, the ability of connecting Bluetooth earbuds, and the ability of also connecting Bluetooth remote if you want to be able to do that. Also, ability of jumping into the settings tab, USB mode, disk mode, Wi-Fi settings, Bluetooth wake up. Of course, we have voice control off or on. You can turn that on if you want to be able to control it there. Anti-flicker, video bitrate, video sharpness, external mic on if you want to be able to also purchase an accessory for that, which was not provided to me, so I don't have that. You can see the storage left on the SD card, the language, of course, auto on and off, customization of the buttons, factory reset, and of course, certification if you need to turn that on. But once you're done, it's pretty much straightforward. It's really hard to kind of mess with it. As far as configuration, what you can do once you shoot the content, you just need to turn on and go into the Insta360 app. Now, it is available on the Google Play Store and available directly. I'm going to go ahead and put this down for a second there because I want to show you guys something real quick. So first, I'm going to go ahead and connect to the camera. I'll give it a second. I've already paired it on. Once you pair it, it's easy to configure and really easy to set up. So I'll give it a second to connect. And one thing to mention that it does connect over Wi-Fi for faster transfer, so that really gets it very nice. You're able to see all of the content that you've shot, everything that you've shot on the camera. You can see I've shot a lot of stuff, and of course you're able to jump directly into the camera itself. So I'm going to go ahead and put the camera on me, so you notice it's facing me, right? So look what happens when I take the camera and I flip it over. When I turn it around, when I put it back on the table. Although you saw some motion, it didn't actually lose configuration. It didn't actually lose me as a focus. And that's one of the things that you really appreciate about this, is the fact that the camera itself, although it is a 360 camera, it really works very nicely. Now, I want to show you guys real quick this little big separation. You notice how there's a little bit of a shade color here on the display. And that's because it's seeing me right now on both cameras in a spherical mode. And this is pretty much one of the only times you'll ever be able to see. You can kind of see how my picture kind of like ever so slightly does that. You don't want to do that. You pretty much just want to keep it facing you. And again, you can put it sideways, you can put it upside down. The camera knows exactly what you're doing, and you can record. And of course, you can select the different options available directly in here, and of course, configure the different between the frame rate, the resolution, and get all of that stuff set up. Now, the app itself does have a lot of different functions, from tutorials, for review, and activities. And what I really like about this is you're able to actually use some of their themes and some of their options. Like one of their really nice ones, I'll go ahead and go back in here. We'll go to tutorials, is the ability of using that electric surge. That was a really nice little option that they added in here. And I'm going to go ahead and pause the video here, mostly because I don't want to get the audio the demonetization there. But all you need to do is use the template itself, select the video that you have that you want to be able to configure this, and go in and actually do manual editing of this. This is really one of the big solutions here that I really enjoy. Now, of course, if you prefer using a PC, there are options for you to be able to do so. Connect it over the USB, open up the USB-C port on the side, connect it to your PC and download their studio. You do need to provide your serial number initially to be able to validate that you actually have one of these to download the software that is free directly from their website. Once you download it, install it, set it up, it's pretty straightforward. You connect the camera and you're able to import your content. And what I really like about it is you're able to set your waypoints. Essentially is like the viewpoint in a 360 video. Because a 360 video covers everything around us, you need to have a point to kind of direct people to watch, especially if you're sharing this in either a 9:16 video or a 16:9 video. And what that essentially means is if you're sharing it in whatever social media, you want to kind of direct the view of your audience. And I think that's one of the main benefits. The other thing that I also want to share is that it also does integrate directly with Premiere Pro if you'd like to edit your 360 video in there as well. So that's one of the big benefits. There's few presets in there to be able to change color or optimize some of the performance, but for the most part, I feel like the mobile app actually does a little bit more than the desktop experience because it's a little bit more automated for you. The template that I was talking about right there, where it was giving us that little bit of a flare effect that they were talking about, I'm going to share you guys real quick a quick sample there. That was actually a clip that I used from another test that I was trying to use, another template that they shared. And you could see essentially it automatically detected the subject. I identified it myself. I pressed and held on it in the actual video, and it actually tracks pretty well to the point where it was able to add those little flares and watermarks and all of that stuff that worked really nice. Now, that same clip, I actually shot 3 of them, 3 separate clips like that, to actually be able to share this really unique experience of a jump cut between 3 separate walking clips, and it enable us to actually get that very unique experience as I'm sharing with you guys also right now. It looks really, really cool, and obviously I could have done better. It would be really cool if I had different sceneries. But essentially, it was a lawn walk that I was taking here in my hometown, and it was easy to be able to generate something like that. It looks really, really nice. Some of the other options that we have in there as well is the ability of replacing the sky. Very simple, very easy. Again, you shoot your content in standard 360 mode using the 360 selfie stick. And of course, you can walk for a little bit, and as long as it's about 10 to 15 seconds, you're able to actually generate a really nice horizon replacement. And I actually kind of put in like that really big domino effect, mostly for that very obvious experience, but you're able to also change it if it was, let's say, a cloudy day on a set for some reason, and you want to have a sunny day, you're able to input things that there's a lot of options directly in there. And all of that is, again, done in the app. That's what I really love about that. Now, the really exciting part about this, obviously, is taking it outdoors and going out and using it while you're exercising or you're just being outdoors with some friends. And I did get a chance to go spend some time with my buddy Juan Carlos, which allowed me to actually, I guess, test out some of his bikes. And in that experience, we were able to mount both the Insta360 and the motorcycle mount option that they gave me on both the front end part of it as well as on the back, and the ability of getting that experience as you guys are seeing there. Now, I edited the content on my computer. This is how we were able to shoot the content. I trimmed it, set the waypoints, and set the transitions. All of those things were done very simply and easily, and I was able to export it straight out as a video that I'm able to share with you guys here. So the benefit there is the ability of actually editing and providing that content that you're looking for. We also did take the opportunity to create a bullet time or 360 video showing basically that camera experience and having it go all around us as we were finishing our day riding those beautiful bikes there. And of course, last but not least, I also wanted to test out that drone mode, or the ability of using that extended selfie stick that they provided. Now, I will say this, initially when I first opened it up, it looked like it was just going to really, like it's a very long selfie stick, but the actual material that it's built out of, it's actually pretty lightweight. So you don't get a lot of that wiggle where I was expecting as it goes very high. I was worried that it was gonna start swaying very hard. It actually didn't. It did a really decent job. The one thing I will say is that the Insta360 stabilizes your content tremendously well. The video itself, when you're watching it on the display, is actually almost about a half a second behind what real life is. Meaning if I turn the camera, it takes an extra half a second to move. And that's because it's buffering the video and stabilizing the content. All of my shots, everything that I was showing you guys, especially on the bikes or even when I was walking, included motion and included bumps and movements in my hand. You would almost never see it in the video because it's that good. Last thing I want to mention is you're able to export the content in almost every format that you can imagine. 9:16 is the default format because essentially it's intended for that type of thing. So creating reels, shorts, or even TikToks is going to be absolutely a breeze. If you'd like to be able to convert to something more of a 16:9 aspect ratio like what we're doing here, this is definitely going to be very easy. You change the aspect ratio and then of course crop and fit the video to match what you need. The last thing I also want to mention to you guys is they also include that 72 megapixel camera that includes, basically it's an extended shot at 72 megapixels using the front and back camera, and you're able to of course configure it and edit it in your system and export it. The beautiful thing about this is as long as you have good lighting, this is going to give you a very good panoramic shot without ever having to move. You just literally stand in the center, position it, hit the record, and then just give it a second to finish. Overall, I think if you're looking for an action camera, or maybe I'll say this, if you're looking for an all-purpose type of a camera, this works great. The audio from it, I'm not going to necessarily say it's going to be the best, but let's go ahead and do a quick sample of a single camera video recording using the Insta360 here in my backyard.
Now, obviously this is a 360 camera, so you should be able to use it in a 360 mode. But if you ever wanted to just use a 16:9 vlogging style camera, you're able to do that. You can use the front lens or the rear lens and of course record it using the audio and the built-in mics that we have here on the Insta360. Right now I'm recording at 4K 30 frames per second on a single lens with the built-in audio. And again, this is more of a vlogging style experience. You're able to change the actual look. So if you don't have to stick to 16:9, you can also go to a little bit more of an wider view, and all of those customizations are done on the fly on the display. You don't actually have to connect it to the phone. That's one of the benefits of having that bigger display here. More functional and easy to see. I can actually see everything in the video very clearly. And of course, everything's stored on it and you can transfer and share it to social media.
Now, as you saw there, it actually did pretty decent. Of course, the better the lighting, the better the quality of the video it's going to be. You're able to shoot 8K time-lapse. Unfortunately, the time that I got the camera itself after coming back from Vegas, we had a lot of rain, so there wasn't really much time for me to be able to go and shoot a beautiful 8K time-lapse. But again, one of the biggest things I'll probably say is the capabilities of what we're able to do. It is waterproof up to 33 feet, which means if you are just going to get in the pool or going and swim around, this is going to work perfectly fine. Of course, there's going to be some distortion because of the fact, obviously, of water and the way it works all around the camera. But I feel like at the end of the day, you're definitely going to be able to enjoy it. I was able to test it out here in some water in the kitchen while my son and I were actually grabbing a bite to eat. The last thing I also want to cover real quick is they do have that me mode, which does a much better way of making the camera almost become invisible. And what I really like about that essentially is if you're using the selfie stick and walking around with it, it almost makes that entire experience very, very simple. And you actually can position the camera straight in front of you and make it look like as if it's not there. That last clip I'm sharing you guys right now is pretty much there. And I really like that. And again, you can format it in whatever. I have to emphasize this. Although by default it looks like it's shooting 9:16, you can reformat it to be 16:9 or even wider depending on your requirements. So definitely very nice, and you're able to punch in a little bit more as well depending on the quality of the video that you're going for. Again, 4K 120, 5.7K at 30 frames per second when you're doing 360. You're able to take 72 megapixel camera shots, me mode, water experience, the whole bullet time, the time-lapse effect. There's just so many things you could do with this, and there's so many nice accessories that are built around it to be able to allow you to enjoy it a little bit more. On the audio side, you probably did notice that the audio was not necessarily the best. You are able to buy an accessory to this, provided that also gives you the ability of using external audio into this, which makes it very functional for wireless lav mics or anything like that, or even wired connection if you'd like to do that. So it works really nice, and I feel like the ecosystem has gone through so many iterations that it is really nice and very simple to use. On your phone, on the PC, and of course on the go. I want to say thank you very much to Insta360 for providing me the X3 for review, and of course to be able to give me some time to be able to test it out. I initially wanted to take this with me to CES to provide you guys my coverage from there. Unfortunately, it didn't get here in time, so I wasn't able to get that to you guys at that time, but I did receive it as soon as I came back, and I will say that I've been blown away, and I will be taking this with me on every single trip that I go, mostly be able to share those unique experiences that for the most part a standard camera can't do. I mean, we can take great video and great pictures, but 360 video has its unique benefits, and I feel like the Insta360 found a way to make this functional beyond the 360 video. And even if you do want 360 video, this can do it very well. But the seamless transitions, the editing tools, the templates that they have built in, and all the new things they keep adding makes this a very valuable multi-purpose camera system. Although, again, at the end of the day, it does record 360 video. I feel like that's, by one definition, the least that it could do. It could do so much more. Thank you very much for the support. Like and subscribe as usual. I'll see you in the next video, and I hope you're doing well.